Hello everyone and welcome to another Forge History video, and today I have another Infection Forger, and today I am bringing you guys REMkings. REMkings, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey allemaal, ik ben REMkings. Ik kom uit Nederland. Ik weet niet, ja, ik vind het eigenlijk best wel leuk om hier te zijn vandaag. Ik weet niet of jullie allemaal Nederlands kunnen, maar...
Can you say that again in English, please?
What? Oh, hello everyone. I'm REMkings. I'm from the Netherlands, and I'm really glad to be here today. Thank you for having me, Zanny.
Isn't that where Peter Pan lives, dude?
No.
Okay, well, anyway guys, we'll be talking about his Halo Reach and Halo 4 maps. We have categories for both games. For Halo Reach, he will be talking about his first/worst map, his best map, his proudest map, his most learned map, and then the last map he forged in Reach. And for Halo 4, once again, he'll be talking about his first and worst map, and then his best map, and then his proudest map, most learned map once again, and we'll end it off with the last map he made in Halo 4. And anyway, without further ado, just take it away, Rem.
Alright, well, for Halo Reach, my very first released map, and by released I mean put upon the interwebs, that one's called WHAC-A-MOLE. I put this map together pretty quickly after actually having tested it with some of my early Xbox Live friends I had at the time. I created a thread on Forge Hub, and that's when I met my dear friend called Mr. Feedback. Feedback is awesome, it helps you improve your maps. Overall this map was alright, not too great, but decent, fairly enjoyable, at least for the snipers. And among the Reach maps in this video, it's also my worst. I mean, I've made worse maps, but I guess I could point this one out because it was basically just another goofy minigame that didn't keep in mind to be fun at all times for all players. But yeah, I was only just doing stuff at this point in my forging career, and I had barely any sense of what differed a good map from a bad one, or a great map from a good one. Now onto the next map. This map is what got it all started for me. After this one, the love for forging infection maps or flood maps got huge. This is when I got my floner. I'd always loved playing infection maps in both Halo 3 and Reach, but I never really forged any. But that was until I made my first infection map, this one, Lone Souls in a Lost Mine. I picked this map as my best map in Reach because even though it may have been the very first infection map I released, I still do consider it one of the greatest ones I've ever made, even up to this day. It's strange how things turned out with this map. I started building it with barely any knowledge about forging infection, and the whole reason I made it was because of a contest hosted by Virtual Flood, which is a great Halo YouTube channel. The contest was about reimagining a map that was previously featured on that channel, and I picked a map situated in a mine, which was surprisingly enough called Mine of Lost Souls. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to finish Lone Souls in time for the contest, but when testing it with a bunch of guys, somebody among those guys saw the potential of the map. This guy was my friend, not at the time yet friend, but my friend Oakley Highdev, who is of course one of our heroes from the old Halo Forge Epidemic crew. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a fanboy. Anyway, he contacted me, he added me on Xbox Live and wanted to help me improve upon the map in whatever way possible, using feedback that we all found during that one test lobby. So after some tweaking, he actually featured it on THFE, and around the same time I posted it on Forge Hub, and it became one of my most popular maps. In terms of downloads, actually my most popular infection map of all time, still, even up to this day. Which, yeah, I guess it's kind of painful because it was my first map. On to the next one. This is DEADBOROUGH. I created it shortly after Lone Souls and Lost Mine. Well, that's when I started working on it. It took a long ass time to finish. I picked this one as my personal favorite map. That's for a couple of reasons. First of all, I like to believe it was the very first map ever to successfully combine vertical building gameplay with warthog gameplay in an infection map. I'm not even bragging here. I wouldn't dare. I just never saw any of those that worked up until that point. Secondly, it's the one map that got me into forging urban environments, which by now is one of the things I've become known for, I guess. This map is another example of what really wasn't planned to be what it became to be. But in the end, I'm glad I didn't turn it into a Slayer map, which was what I was gonna go for at first. The fifth map in Reach, and picked as my most educational map, my most learned map, is Favela Run. Favela Run was my first attempt at a linear map that was actually released. I forged it back when linear became a really popular variant of Infection, and I gotta say I enjoyed forging it quite a bit. Again, this started out as something different, which is a clever reference to a map made by the Omicron, a good friend of mine from BIOC. I was gonna co-forge this map with BIOC, another friend from BIOC, but because we live in different time zones, I ended up creating and finishing it on my own. I picked this one as my most educational, my most learned map, because it was the first time I forged on a DLC canvas, and also because it got me to learn a lot about linear maps and how to properly make them. It had some problems, but I was definitely happy with the way it turned out. Now, finally, for the Halo Reach part, here's my last map. This one's the Promethean Temple. Painfully enough, my only successful co-forge in Reach. It was a linear map that I made with Reddy93, also a good friend from BIOC. Shout out to all the BIOC guys here, great friends of mine. But there will follow more names, don't worry. Reddy and I used this modded game type for the Promethean Temple that allowed zombies to always be elites. There was the Spec Ops elite armor that greatly resembled Promethean Knights, and that fits the theme of the map, a temple protected by Promethean Knights. This map isn't all that well known because it was released too late when Halo 4 was already out. So yeah, I think that's it for the Halo Reach maps.
Yeah, shout out to the BIOC guys indeed, and that's it for Rem's Reach maps. Before we hop into Halo 4, I also actually wanted to bring it up that I did try to join BIOC in the past, but they never accepted me.
Sandro, I thought we're not gonna bring this up in the video. We discussed this. You know, we talked about it and we simply didn't want you, so why are
you doing this, man? Like, dati ko pag gusto sumali, tingin ko naman kaya kong gawin niya.
Sandro, ik vind het echt niet relaxed dat je dit nu doet. Ik snap niet waarom je er nu over begint. Ik word een beetje boos van, moet ik eerlijk zeggen. Maar
kaya ko naman, pare, pero...
Weet je, verder vind ik je echt een hele goede forger.
Hindi naman binigyan ng pagkakataong magawa yun.
Je doet het goed, je maakt goede video's, moet ik zeggen, maar ik vind het, ja... Okay, so onto my Halo 4 maps. The first and worst one I finished and released was Destitute in Chains. This map took second place in the Best of the Dead contest by Insaniac. Insaniac, of course, an amazing forger. I definitely consider him to be one of the greatest Infection forgers of all time. Shout out to Insaniac.
Oh, fanboy.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a fanboy. Oh well. It snatched second place, even though at this point I consider it one of my worst maps. By the way, it was a reimagination of Lone Souls and Lost Mine from Reach, but it just didn't get to meet my personal expectations, and it didn't have that same feel to it. It didn't work the best, and I had yet to learn about Halo 4's forge mechanics. Next is my best map. For my best map in Halo 4 I picked When Running Fails. Ironically, this must be the map that took me the least effort to make. I finished testing after about 20 games already, and except for the game type I didn't have to change much. I mean, except for a few bumps in the track, it was actually alright from the start. I had a clear vision when making this map. I'd always wanted to forge a Drive or Die map. Only few had been successful in the past, such as Run from Halo Reach, for those of you who remember. But the majority of Drive or Die maps were poorly made and just made for horrible experiences when playing as a zombie. I wanted to change that up, so I built this track with multiple interchanges, with some jumps to add to the fun of driving, and most importantly I added more sideline blockers, such as the bridge in the middle, and I greatly increased the zombies' health settings. That way it was more rewarding to kill zombies as a gunner, more rewarding to stay alive at the end of the long rounds as a survivor, and more fun being a zombie because you didn't die all the time. Overall, this just has got to be my best map in the game because it always makes for a great time and people laughing out loud. Next up is Favela Vengeance. I decided to call this map my personal favorite because, you know, it's definitely one of the maps I had most fun both making and playing. I made this map in a period of time when I was also working on Morgan Bay and when running fills. So I guess you could say this was my prime time of forging in Halo 4. Overall, what just gave me most satisfaction when finishing this map is the fact that it's so much better than its prequel, Favela Favela Run from Reach. Like Favela Run, it's an extremely fast-paced linear map. But this sequel is so much better because not only is it more balanced and better looking, altogether it just has more variety to it, more different tactics and playstyles to offer.
Favela Vengeance is actually well, one of my favorites from you, and I'm pretty sure I've told you this in the past before, but it actually inspired me to make my own linear infection map, City of Grey, and that's because I had so much fun like jumping down on the humans like from above as a zombie. I remember it being a lot of fun in my lobbies, so yeah.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's yeah. Thanks for that. It's great to hear when people enjoy your maps and it inspires them to make their own. Actually, I believe Orzium also made this map, Alkaline City. That's also based on Favela Vengeance. Yeah, yeah. About this map, like one of the things that makes it stand out in comparison to Favela Run is that the zombies have more options, and like you said, they can jump down on the humans. The humans have more options too. They can like get extra weapons because they can break this certain wall to get some more stuff. Well, yes, you know, it's just more fun. I still love playing this map, and I love hearing people shouting through their mics, screaming at the top of their lungs when they're getting chased by a couple of zombies. Okay, my most educational map is next. For Halo 4, this is probably PERCY, a writer's journal. This was a very ambitious project that Eltrusty and I worked on for a really long time. Eltrusty is of course one of my close friends from Xbox Live and another BIOC buddy. Shout out to BIOC. We started developing plans for this map back in Reach, but finally when the forging underwater trick on Forge Island was discovered, I knew this was perfect for what we had in mind. Ultimately, when it was released, people really liked its originality. They liked the resemblance to Alan Wake, which is the video game it was based upon. I picked this one as my most learned map, thanks to its different playstyle and the implementation of tactics that you don't normally see in Infection. And I also got to appreciate another way of forging linear maps, like instead of just the faster paced ones. This is more of a slow going one, more creepy. I'm definitely gonna keep on working on both types of Infection in the future. The final map that we'll discuss, my last map in Halo 4 that I released actually, is CEDRICVILLE Unleashed. Because it wasn't technically my last map. I made this other map called the Blemished Parish. Some sort of like similar type of map as Favela Vengeance. But that one's pretty unknown due to the fact that it was released really late when Halo 4 was pretty much dead already. And this, for those of you who noticed, was a clever reference to a Walking Dead episode. Anyway, CEDRICVILLE is a great example of what I learned about Halo 4's Forge possibilities during its lifespan. It features aesthetics unlike any map I ever built. Because of certain restrictions, I wasn't quite able to get the Warthog track to be what I wanted it to be, but overall it's a great improvement over DEADBOROUGH, which I guess can be considered a predecessor, just like 8 O'Clock Reminiscence from Halo 4. I'm really happy with the way the church turned out, also how it works out in gameplay. And this map turned out to win Best of Forge 2013 on HaloCustoms.com, so it made me feel happy to see people still enjoying my map even this late in Halo 4. And that's all of my maps, I guess.
Alright, well, I just wanted to add in that, you know, if anyone wanted to figure out how to make these proper like church buildings and towers and kind of rundown buildings, look at CEDRICVILLE Unleashed, because it is, well, as you said, one of your best looking maps. I personally would agree, because well, that church pretty much just won me over when I saw it in the screenshots. I think I played this map in one of my lobbies. It might be in some of my custom game lobby videos, so go ahead and check that out if you're interested. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it from Rem and myself. Hope you guys enjoyed this Forge History video, and if you have any suggestions for other forgers who I could interview and they can talk about their Forge history, just leave it down in the comments. So yeah, is there anything else you want to say, Rem?
Well, I guess just keep on forging, guys. Halo 5 Forge seems to be amazing. I really hope they're gonna release Infection anytime soon, so we can all start making Infection maps again. And well, people consider me to be a pretty good Infection forger at this point, but I started out as a noob too. So if you're only just getting started with forging, just keep on going, and you'll see that you'll get better with every single map. That's it, I guess.
Alright,
thank you for having me.
Pretty good. Yeah, it's a good message. Thank you for agreeing to do this with me. Anyway, I will see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed the video. Goodbye.